Okay, now we're moving on to the next part, which is gameplay. And Nick, you're going to be allowed to start now, since Pietro had his time first in the last segment.
Okay, so this game, I thought that the controls were great. It was easy to handle and it was not difficult to master. But I do lament the continued lack of innovation on the enemies, because a lot of the enemies are the same recycled things we've seen, a lot of the same patterns. I mean, we saw Shadow Ganon or Puppet Ganon again. That was from a direct copy of Ocarina
Puppet
of Time.
Ganon wasn't in any other game. What are you talking about?
He's referring to Phantom Ganon.
Whatever, same.
That's a different Ganon.
Same idea.
Same idea.
I mean,
well,
it's like the difference
between Ocarina of Time because it had Aghanim.
Yeah,
it's basically the same thing.
It's like the difference between the three green, red, and blue pendants from A Link to the Past versus the green, red, and blue spiritual stones from Ocarina of Time. I think it's lazy. I'm not saying it's not a.
All the Zeldas are like that. The three pendants.
So just because they're all like that, I just said I lament the continued lack of innovation. They don't change it up. I mean, it makes me wonder why, we buy these. I mean, it makes me wonder why it's fun to do it over and over again. With it's literally like buying 6 different covers of the same song.
I agree, man.
So,
but
in that regard, it's weird.
You can't fault Wind Waker only for that.
I'm not, but we're only talking about Wind Waker. So and it's even further down the line.
Specifically, what's wrong with Wind Waker?
But because let's look at Ocarina of Time. There was more of an excuse then because they'd only done it once, But then I've done it again with Wind Waker. They did, those little orbs, right? Didn't we have to collect orbs in this game?
Yeah.
Yeah, and aren't they green, red, and then blue?
Yeah. So.
Well, there you go.
Colors, seriously.
It's just the same thing to me over and over, and I enjoyed it. It was fun, but in retrospect, it seems lazy.
Okay, so if they were yellow, orange, and purple, you would have said okay?
No.
Well,
in fact,
like you're saying because of the colors, like
the colors just highlight the fact that they're not changing anything. The colors and the number. And because
Nick started out in favor, and Pietro started out against, and look at where you are now.
You get those in the beginning. If they put them at the end, even if it's the same color and the same number, if they just put it in a different spot in the timeline within the game, maybe that would make me feel better about it. But the fact that it always comes first, it's always the prerequisite to get the real thing you need to collect. Whether it's 7 magic crystals with girls in them, or 7 sages, or 8 Triforce pieces, or whatever it was. I don't remember. But to me, why?
Okay. Yeah, okay, Pietro, let's have your opinion. And
of what, the gameplay?
Fine, if that is okay with you too.
Of what, the gameplay?
Yeah.
No.
Alright.
We're going to go back to the graphics.
Okay, shut up. Your puny Link. This giant-sized head. Jerk.
It's not physically possible. The game is wrong.
His neck would snap in half.
The whole game is illegitimate.
Okay, gameplay, come on.
Okay.
You have
Alright.
The same goddamn scheme carried from Ocarina of Time.
I like the controls, alright? The controls are very fluid compared to Ocarina of Time where there were some problems.
Well, the Nintendo 64... Have you held the Nintendo 64 controller?
Yeah, I have 3 hands.
Yeah, you have 3 hands. That's cool.
I'm actually Gordo from Mortal Kombat. But
really, that controller is...
It's the worst controller ever invented. Let's move on.
I don't know how the hell I managed to live with that.
You know what I used to do?
How did they even design it?
There's the 3 prongs, right? I would put my left hand on the far left prong and reach my thumb all the way over to the joystick.
Seriously?
That's how I held it wrong for years.
How?
I have long thumbs.
Oh man.
You have to have like spider thumbs to get that working.
Seriously, man.
Anyway,
Not
back
really.
from
we
back,
are supposed to talk about Wind Waker.
back from
And
spider
the
thumbs.
controller really makes it easier to control, and really playing Ocarina of Time with a GameCube controller was much more
And
much
better.
better in my opinion.
And those better camera. Because of the C-stick
Yeah.
instead of
That's
C
true.
buttons.
Yeah, that too.
The angle of the camera was definitely, I thought, good. That's one of the biggest problems
That
with
was
almost
the
any
best
game.
part of
Yeah,
When you get the
well,
horrible angle.
camera control is, in my opinion, one of the major reasons why Twilight Princess, the GameCube version, is better than Twilight Princess
Okay.
Wii version.
Hey, we're talking about
That's-
Wind Waker, man.
Yeah, tell that to you guys who've been bitching about Ocarina of Time and A Link to the Past for these past 5 minutes.
We're making valid comparisons here, Tom.
Yeah.
All right, you need to check
I'm
yourself.
making valid comparisons concerning the camera. Okay?
You know
so
why
shut
they're not
the-
valid? Because Pietro and I aren't making them.
Yeah.
That's the only way they are valid.
Retard.
So if you want us to make a comparison for you to validate it, we could do that. But you can't just go and do that by yourself.
Okay,
God,
so we're talking about what, the gameplay?
Sadly.
Sam, yes.
Alright, the controls are fluid, like I said, but the difficulty, way too easy, man. Like, seriously.
I really don't think this game was that easy in terms of like, okay, the monsters, I'm separating them from like the actual difficulty of like, you know, navigating a blank ocean or like navigating a dungeon, because that's what I consider to be the difficult part. Chopping the monsters has never been hard, except maybe in the original
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda when they kill you before you even get to look at them. They fire arrows from across the screen, you can't block them.
Yeah, that was just broken, really. That was like...
I mean, I bought that game for my Wii, like for Virtual Console, and I wish I could get my money back. I don't know why anybody likes that game.
Come on. It's just 500.
It was $5 that I could have spent on my candy.
Yeah.
You're getting more out of the game. Trust me.
Maybe.
Yeah. And you're not
But
getting diabetes.
but really, it's the difficulty in previous Zeldas have either been due to limited controls or broken game design. I mean, a moblin would throw a spear and it would just pass through all
Trees.
the trees and
Dodge it.
all the rocks and all that, and you just have to
Dodge
step
it.
out of it, out of
See,
the way.
maybe
That's
that was-
it. That's all you need to
Maybe
do.
that's
is
part of the
just
problem with Wind Waker is they fixed all their control issues, but then, oops, forgot to make it harder in response.
Yeah.
It's like Wind Waker and subsequently every Zelda game ever made after it would have the problem of being too well designed in a way.
Hmm.
No.
It's like, well,
You're saying
look at
A Link to the Past wasn't well designed? Come on.
I
It was
love that
well
game.
designed.
I'm saying that Link to the Past was difficult mainly because the controls worked against you.
Okay,
Why? How?
I don't think
understand.
I don't think the controls worked against you at all. I think that game in particular got lucky. The controls were not behind for their time, and the gameplay was not ahead of the controls. I don't think.
Well,
I
they
think
weren't
that
behind for their
genuinely,
time. I never said that.
I just think genuinely that
like-
game was difficult because
Ocarina of Time was basically
most
a Link to the
beautiful
Past
game
put
ever
in
seen.
The only-
3D.
the only fight that I might say was broken is that stupid Mothula fight when all those spikes are flying at you and the floor won't stop moving and he's
With the
shooting
moth?
fire. Yes, that stupid cheating moth.
But in A Link to the Past, it's very much different from how you
But he's fun.
consider difficulty in a 3D Zelda.
This
Stick
is
with
true.
me here. A Link to the Past was difficult because you had to maneuver Link from a top-down perspective. Like, you had control over what was happening behind you, to the sides, and you had to maneuver Link from left to right, up, down, to keep him out of damage's reach, and you had to, at the same time, maneuver so that you could hit your enemies. And that is much more difficult to do in a 2D environment than in a 3D environment.